Hi, I'm Helmut Licht. Thank you for joining me in this second video on dispositors. In my first video, I explained to you how to create a dispositor tree. And then we applied that tree, that structure, to a company environment. Then we took this structure again and applied it to our form of government. As life progresses, we have experiences, some shallow, some profound. The profound ones are liable to change us forever, such as when our young soldiers leave this beautiful country and go overseas into a third world country, risk their lives. This has to be a profound, soul-shaking experience which will change their lives forever. Or another example, you get married and you have children. Life will never be the same. I'm saying this to you because the structure, the dispositorship structure, is not static. It changes, it modifies. And I will show you why this is, when it happens, and how it is liable to affect your life, or the person's life whose chart you're working on. All right, here we go. I will continue using President Obama's chart because that is the chart I used in my first video. Here you see President Obama's ephemeris from the year he was born, August 4th, 1961, all the way down to September 27th, which corresponds to 2016. Remember, every day after birth corresponds to 1 year after birth. Thus, August the 9th, for instance, corresponds to 1966. August the 15th will correspond to 1972. August 22nd corresponds to 1979, and so on. And we also found that President Obama's sun natally is in Leo. Therefore, it has no dispositor, and all the other planets except Saturn were underneath, so to speak, of his sun. Let's have a look at the first, let's say, 24 years of President Obama's life, from 1961 to 1985, and see if any planets change signs. And yes, quite a few of them do. In 1969, Jupiter moves retrograde from Aquarius into Capricorn. In 1973, Mars moves from Virgo into Libra. In 1975, Mercury moves from Leo into Virgo. In 1980, the Sun moves from Leo into Virgo, very significant. In 1986, Venus moves from Cancer into Leo. And in 1992, Mercury moves from Virgo into Libra. Let's now discuss these one by one and see how they change the dispositor structure. In 1969, Jupiter moves retrograde from Aquarius into Capricorn. Up to that time, Jupiter had two rulers, Uranus, which rules Aquarius, and also Saturn, which co-rules Aquarius. After Jupiter moved into Capricorn, Uranus stopped being its co-dispositor because it only rules Aquarius. So now Saturn is its single dispositor. And now we have to change the dispositor diagram by removing the link from Jupiter to Uranus. And as you can see, Saturn is now the sole dispositor of Jupiter. The structure has changed. In 1973, Mars moves from Virgo into Libra. Up to that time, since Mars was in Virgo, Mercury was its dispositor. But now, Venus becomes Mars's dispositor. So we have to break Mars's link with Mercury and move Mars together with Neptune over to Venus, underneath Venus. And Neptune now has two co-dispositors, namely Mars and Pluto. Remember that Neptune is in Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto and Mars. In 1975, Mercury moves from Leo into Virgo. Since Mercury is no longer in Leo, we have to break its connection with the Sun, who rules Leo. Now the Sun disposes of only one planet, which is Uranus. Let's combine the two Neptunes into one. We now have three planets in the top tier: Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn. Mercury rules your thoughts and the way you express them, either verbally or in writing. Neptune, among other things, rules dreams. The Sun is the ego and the urge for significance. Uranus is change, very frequently revolutionary change. And one of the key words of Jupiter is hope. And one of Saturn's key words is organization. In 1980, the Sun moves from Leo into Virgo, very significant. The Sun now has a dispositor, namely Mercury, who rules Virgo. And since the Sun is Uranus's dispositor, both are now moved over and are part of the Mercury group. So we have Mercury group on one side and Saturn on the other. Obama was studying at the Occidental College. In 1986, Venus moves from Cancer into Leo. And since Venus is now no longer in a dispositive relationship with the Moon, we have to sever the connection and connect Venus, Mars, and Neptune with the Sun. And we have two loose end Neptunes, so we'll combine them into one. In 1992, Mercury moves from Virgo into Libra. Since Libra is ruled by Venus, Venus now becomes Mercury's dispositor, and whatever lies underneath Mercury and is connected with it. The next sign change occurs in 2012 when the Sun moves from Virgo into Libra, and right afterwards, Venus moves from Leo into Virgo. Let's first have a look and see what happens when the Sun moves from Virgo into Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, therefore now Venus becomes the Sun's dispositor. And now let's see what happens when Venus moves from Leo into Virgo. So now we have an interesting situation here. Venus is in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in Libra, which is ruled by Venus. So it looks to me like we have a case of mutual reception. So let's look at the structure when Venus is on top, and let's look at the structure when Mercury is on top. Here we have the Moon, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus on the bottom tier. We have Mercury, Mars, and Sun in the middle tier, and Venus at the very top. The Moon and Pluto have an intermediary dispositor, Mercury. and the final dispositor is Venus. Neptune and Uranus also have intermediary dispositors. For Neptune, it is Mars. For Uranus, it is the Sun. But Venus is the final dispositor for all the 7 planets. Here is Mercury on the top as the final dispositor of all these planets, a very powerful position. And Mercury rules communication, either verbally or by writing. And the Sun, the urge for significance, personal power, the ego, is way at the bottom. And the best way that I can interpret this particular configuration is, since personal power is decreasing more and more, power will have to be exerted through the written word. This concludes my second video on dispositorship. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will be able to use some of the information in your astrology. All my videos can be found in my website, which is www.astrologyfrontiers.com. Have a great day, stay well, and I'll see you soon.